Of the Village of Sleepy Hollow. Pardon the delay, we had an executive session before this to discuss a personnel matter, so we're getting started a little bit late. And thank you for being with us nonetheless. All right, first up on our work session agenda is a fireworks contract with a new company. Mr. Giacchio, you want to give us a little background on this?
Yes, I know the village board was eager to get fireworks back since we didn't have it last year on the 4th. We contacted our company that did it the last few years, and they were not able to give us a show on the actual 4th. We reached out, actually it was Matarone that found Legion Fireworks to do the fireworks for us. They were very accommodating. They came out immediately and provided us with a draft contract. The issue at hand is Tarrytown has some concerns about the restrictions that the state is imposing on group events, and has having concerns about whether they want to do fireworks on the 4th. I know that I sent an email to the board. What the board should do tonight is to at least acknowledge that this contract works, and then we would approve it next week, assuming Tarrytown is on board.
I've heard a little bit about this from Tarrytown. And I know there's some other folks on the board who feel the same way about going ahead. I very much want to go ahead with the fireworks. I think it would be great. We did them once this year already, technically this year. It was on January 1st. It was very cold out, but very successful and a lot of fun. And I really would like to see us go forward. Whether or not Tarrytown does, I think we should.
So would we do this contract as is if they choose not to do it, or are there other options?
Well, I think we will have to look at that.
Okay. Because I'm in favor of it for sure, and I agree with you. I think our intention to move forward is the right thing to do. But maybe just talking to them about if we're doing this independent or if there are other options. I mean, when are they going to decide?
I made it clear that our village board would make a decision next Tuesday night,
Okay.
so that's really when we need to know.
Okay, that I appreciate that, yeah, because if there's no due date on it, then it might drag a little bit longer, depending on what the answer is. Okay, I'm all in.
I mean, is this in line with previous years' costs?
Yep.
So it really is a matter of them reimbursing a portion of it?
They pay 50% usually.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we took the whole contract, that's twice as much as we would normally pay.
Mm-hmm.
Do we usually split in a
50-50,
contract?
yeah.
In a contract?
No,
So
we
it's not-
pay the full amount, and they reimburse us, the town, the village.
Okay, so either way, we would proceed like this.
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a request for a block party on Kelborne Avenue. The date of that is
June 19th.
June 19th, so coming up. That's usually, it's pretty straightforward. DPW drops off some barriers. They get put up, the police get notified. We're all good with it. I think we can let the organizers know that we're going to approve it next week, so they can go ahead with their planning. Then we'll just put it on for the agenda.
Yep.
We have a prisoner transport IMA, something that we've had for a while. Mr. Giacchio, you want to elaborate on that?
This is an annual agreement we do with Westchester County. It's part of the prisoner transport process for the police department. It's pretty much straightforward. We usually renew it every year. It's important service that the village gets from the county, so
Has anything changed?
nothing has really significantly changed. And obviously the police chief is recommending it be approved.
So if council look at the contract to make sure it's nothing different, and we'll put it on for approval next week. Okay, folks?
Yep.
Great. We have a request for a tuition reimbursement from the chief, who's pursuing a new degree in, I believe,
It's criminal justice.
criminal justice
Yeah.
administration.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have two new members of the board. Just for your information, we do have a tuition reimbursement program for police officers, including the chief, and we encourage all of them. There's one other officer who usually takes advantage of this as well, and we've been strongly supportive of this in the past, and we think that continuing education, especially this kind, is a benefit for the officer, for the individual, and for the village as well. So, any questions on the chief's request?
Where is he enrolled?
University of New Haven. And if you look on this second page, you'll see his GPA,
Cool.
which he's very proud of.
So we can
You
call
should
it
be,
out in,
yeah.
A plus and an A, good for him.
huh.
That's awesome.
I got straight A's once. It was in fourth grade. Because that semester they did excuse me, they didn't do handwriting as a grade. That's the only reason I still have god-awful handwriting. All right, so we'll put that on for approval next week. The water tank repair,
Yeah, you don't have anything on this. This is the reservoir that was built in 1927, I believe, and renovated in the 70s. When we built the new water tank, we were able to take this one offline, examine it, and we determined that there were some leaks and things that needed to be repaired. The tank is actually empty right now, and this is to go out to bid to resurface and repair all the leaks in the tank so we can put it back in service.
And that'll be our reserve once it's repaired, right?
Both tanks are used simultaneously. So the water stays fresh. So that we could draw down from either one of the reservoirs at any given time. And, but I will say this, that the village board approved this in the capital budget, this project.
I remember.
okay? So we'll put that on as well. We have another discussion item, seasonal employees, police department and parks. We have received a memo from the chief listing the folks that he would like to employ for the summer and our normal park staff.
For the new board members, we have staff that man the booth at Kingsland. We also have individuals that are man the parks, Sykes Park, Barnard Park, and Kingsland Park. So, and the chief, the police department oversees those individuals.
Any questions? Okay, we'll put it on for approval for next week. That completes our work session discussion items. We have two resolutions that I would like the board to consider. In order to do that, we need to go into a special session. So can I get a motion to go into special session?
Motion to go into special session.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? All right, this is a special session of the Board of Trustees called for the purpose of considering two resolutions. One of them is to approve a consulting agreement with Charles McKinney and with the Village of Sleepy Hollow. Mr. McKinney has been providing consulting services to the village for some time in a number of areas, and helping us with our design work, including around DeVries, the Common, and the traffic island, and working with us on the new parks that are being created by Edge on Hudson, and continuing to work with us on things like preparing the RFP for our architectural services for the new DPW. And I think he's been terrific and continues to be so, and I would strongly recommend that the board approve this agreement. I had thought that this agreement was approved last year sometime, and haven't been able to figure out when that was. So I would also ask the board to approve his invoice for the work that was done through the end of last year as well.
So moved.
So, question on this.
Wait, hang on a second. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion. Sam?
Yeah, the question that I have is, this is being funded out of which budget?
Village budget.
And-
Mostly, if you look at the invoice and there's some items that say Edge on them, and those would be paid out of the escrow account from Edge. Any developer, when we have engineering services and other things, it comes out of that.
Okay. So, I just looked at the agreement, and I just felt like the agreement is very vague. And I would feel comfortable voting for this if I had a better idea of the specific work that he was actually doing. And so on the consulting service, I mean, the contract is basically primarily talking about payment for services, term, nature of relationship, but it doesn't really tell me a lot about the actual consulting services that he's providing.
I think if you looked at the invoice, you would see the breadth of projects that he has advised us on.
There's no invoice here.
I sent you the invoice.
Well,
Mr. Giacchio, can you print one out, please?
yeah, so, so I just think that this contract should have something that's more specific in it about, I mean, it's just too vague for me.
I like a broad one as opposed to a narrowly defined one, and I'm also comfortable with the fact that the contract can end at any time as well.
I'm not concerned about it ending. I'm concerned about knowing what we're paying $50,000 for.
We're not paying
That's up to.
$50,000.
Up to potentially $50,000.
So, I mean, just a question on it, is he sort of running, or at least devising RFPs to select consultants, I guess, for maybe the DPW project? Is that sort of the scope of work
Mhm.
that's included in his purview? And then, I mean, to our knowledge, like, what other municipalities does he provide these services to? I just don't have any background on what this is.
Did you review the invoice? Yeah, so that, like I said, that would give the breadth of services
Yeah,
an idea.
that seems clear to me.
So
But
maybe,
do we know what other municipalities he provides similar services to?
that I'm not too sure, but maybe I can assist if you,
What other municipalities do?
Yeah.
what other clients?
Maybe what other clients
Clients,
he
I
has
think
that are
is
similar
a good
to us?
We've been working with Mr. McKinney for a few years now, and he has a consulting practice, but his background is with New York City and the Parks Department. He oversaw the redevelopment of Riverside Park, for example, and a number of other parks in the city that are much larger projects than ours. I'm trying to say not dwarf what we're doing, but
Right.
because we have some sense of how
Yeah,
important our
absolutely.
stuff is.
Absolutely.
A decades-long practice. So very experienced design consultant and administrator as well. So he built facilities such as had them built and oversaw facilities like our DPW for the park system in the city.
And maybe to add a little bit more context, if I could, Mayor, I had an opportunity to work with
Thank you.
Ken on the RFP with the DPW study. So I had an opportunity to really speak with him, and I don't know what holiday it was, but it was sometime in January where we spent some time. And I think, just to kind of add, while again, it doesn't really speak to that much, but there are a lot of projects that are umbrellaed under here on Consulting Services C. And it talks about the commons, the DPW compound. I know he's doing a lot on the shoreline and the debris part in the Union Hall. So I just want to let you know, I too have been starting to get more involved as his relationship is on the DPW. And it's, if you look at the invoice, because Ken and I reviewed it a little bit further, it's a lot of little work that is giving a lot of benefit back on some of the work that he's done. And I know you haven't seen it, but I just wanted to share that I too have had some exposure with
And I
him as
can
well.
speak to that as well. I've been working with him on the debris refurbishment of the Mechanico and the debris park as well. He's been on all the calls with us and, out trudging through the marshes and everything with us, so.
So this is not, his services are not contracted through the local development corporation.
No.
Right? This is just a village consulting that he's doing.
Correct.
Okay.
And one of the, a sense of urgency, I guess I have, is that the invoices for services that have already been provided and that were provided last year. So I'd like to get the contract approved so that we can then
Right.
pay, this overdue invoice. I think that I can provide additional backup for the newer members of the board, the circulated resume and or work experience, so that you guys can see that as well. And certainly arrange for you to, next time we have a meeting, to make sure that you have the opportunity to sit in on that for yourselves and get a sense of what the work is really like.
Well, thank you for the background information.
Sure. Any further discussion? So, all in favor of approving the contract and the outstanding invoice, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? The resolution's approved. We have an additional resolution that was circulated that involves a personnel matter. Could somebody read that resolution, please?
I'll take it. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow accepting resignation notice from police officer. Whereas Hector Rosario submitted his letter of resignation via letter dated April 29, 2021, as a Sleepy Hollow police officer to be effective June 2nd, 2021. And whereas Hector Rosario has now requested to modify his resignation date to June 20th, 2021. And whereas Hector Rosario has further requested to be placed on an unpaid leave during the period between and including June 2nd, 2021 and June 20th, 2021. And whereas the Board of Trustees is amendable to both of Hector Rosario's requests. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby agrees to Hector Rosario's request to modify his resignation date to June 20th, 2021. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby agrees to Hector Rosario's request to be placed on an unpaid leave of absence during the period between and including June 2nd, 2021 and June 20th, 2021. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts Hector Rosario's resignation effective June 20th, 2021. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? And the resolution is approved. God, it feels good not to have to say all, say or indicate.
That's right.
Yeah, can I get a motion to end the special session?
Motion.
So,
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned. We're in our work session, and our work session items are complete. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they're not. There are 5 Tuesdays in June. What's your pleasure, folks, about our practice for the new folks, again, is when there are 5 Tuesdays, we meet on 4 of them. So,
I'm unavailable on the 22nd, so that date would be good for me, but it doesn't matter.
that's my birthday, so that's actually a good day.
Oh, there you go.
There you
Party at
go.
Sam's.
That's my birthday.
Party at Sam's.
My
birthday's the
I won't be
24th.
The 29th. I'll make it.
And mine's the
I'm
12th.
off on the
Weird.
29th.
Yeah.
so, all right.
So I'll be off
I have no
too.
preference.
I don't have a birthday in June.
20.
We got 3 birthdays in June here.
Weird.
Wow.
You guys both want the 22nd?
Yeah, I want the 22nd.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any?
I don't have a
That's
problem, I'm
fine.
just not gonna be here on the 29th.
Yeah, I won't be here next week, but Sam's birthday
Everybody
trumps it.
has, real life interferes. all
Birthdays
the
take
time.
precedent.
Yeah.
Birthday
don't-
takes precedence.
No, real life interferes. All right, so let's, we'll do a resolution next week to say that the 22nd, it will not be a work session or a board meeting, whatever is coming up on that date. And in the meantime, we can please have the clerk post a notice that we will not be meeting on the 22nd. Okay? All right, now our work session is complete. Thank you and good evening.